Welcome to Outside Views EU. Today we're diving into a fascinating and highly relevant topic, the future of work in the European Union. As we navigate a rapidly changing world, labor laws, the gig economy and remote work trends are reshaping the way people live and work across the EU. And these changes bring opportunities, challenges and questions about how we define and protect workers' rights in the years to come. Let's begin with labor laws in the EU. The European Union has long prided itself on its robust labor protections, which are among the strongest in the world. From minimum wage guarantees to stringent health and safety standards, the EU has established frameworks designed to protect workers and promote fair working conditions. But as the nature of work evolves, so too must the laws that govern it. One of the most significant areas of reform involves ensuring that workers in non-traditional roles, such as gig workers and freelancers, receive the protections they need. Traditionally, EU labor laws have focused on full-time, long-term employment contracts. And these contracts provided clear benefits like paid leave, sick pay and pensions. However, the rise of the gig economy has disrupted this model. Gig workers, those who perform short-term task-based jobs through platforms like Uber, Deliveroo or Upwork, are often classified as independent contractors rather than employees. And this classification exempts them from many labor protections, leaving them vulnerable to exploitation and financial insecurity. In response, the EU has begun taking steps to address these issues. One major initiative is the proposed EU directive on platform work, which aims to ensure that gig workers are properly classified and receive benefits like minimum wages, paid leave, and access to social protections. The directive also seeks to increase transparency in algorithms used by gig platforms, which often determine workers' assignments and pay. But implementing these changes is easier said than done. Platform companies argue that reclassifying gig workers as employees would significantly increase their costs, potentially driving some platforms out of business. Meanwhile, gig workers themselves are divided. Some value the flexibility of independent work, while others prioritize the stability of traditional employment benefits. And this tension highlights the broader challenge of balancing flexibility and security in the future of work. Let's turn now to remote work, another major trend transforming the EU labor market. The COVID-19 pandemic accelerated the adoption of remote work across the globe, and the EU was no exception here. Millions of workers transitioned to working from home almost overnight, sparking debates about the long-term viability and impact of remote work. Remote work has clear benefits. It offers flexibilities for employees, reduces commuting time, and can even lower operational costs for businesses. For many, it has also improved work-life balance and allowed them to spend more time with family. But remote work also comes with challenges. And one major issue is the blurred line between work and personal life. The EU has already taken steps to address this with its push for a right to disconnect. This concept gives workers the legal right to unplug from work-related communications outside of regular working hours. Countries like France and Spain have already enshrined this right into law, and others are likely to follow. Another challenge is ensuring that remote work doesn't exacerbate inequalities. Not all jobs can be performed remotely, and not all workers have access to the technology or space needed for effective remote work. There's also the question of cross-border remote work within the EU. With open borders between member states, many workers are exploring the possibility of living in one country while working remotely for a company based in another. And while this offers exciting opportunities, it also raises legal and logistical questions. Which countries' labor laws apply? How should taxes and social security contributions be handled? The EU will need to develop clear frameworks to address these cross-border complexities as remote work becomes more widespread. And now let's talk about the broader implications of these trends. Automation and artificial intelligence are set to play a major role in shaping the future of work. Studies suggest that up to 20% of current jobs in the EU could be automated in the coming decades. While this will create new opportunities in tech and innovation, it will also require significant reskilling and upskilling efforts. The EU's Digital Education Action Plan aims to address this by promoting digital literacy and lifelong learning. But this is no small task, especially for older workers or those in regions with limited access to training programs. Demographic changes also factor into the equation. Europe's aging population is putting pressure on labor markets, particularly in sectors like healthcare and elder care. Attracting younger workers and addressing labor shortages will require creative solutions, including migration policies and incentives for higher birth rates. The role of unions and collective bargaining will also evolve. Unions have traditionally been strong advocates for workers' rights in the EU, but their influence has waned in recent years. As new forms of work emerge, unions will need to adapt to represent gig workers, freelancers, and remote employees effectively. And finally, sustainability is becoming an increasingly important consideration. The EU's Green Deal includes a vision for a sustainable economy that emphasizes green jobs and industries. And this transition will require careful planning to ensure that workers in traditional sectors such as fossil fuels are not left behind. So in conclusion, the future of work in the EU is being shaped by a complex interplay of factors. Labor laws must evolve to protect all workers, whether they are driving for a gig platform or working remotely from home. The gig economy needs to strike a balance between flexibility and fairness, while remote work policies must address issues of inequality, cross-border complexity, and worker well-being. Automation, demographics, union representation, and sustainability will add further layers of complexity to the equation here. The EU faces significant challenges, but it also has an opportunity to lead the way in creating a future of work that is fair, inclusive, and sustainable. So thank you for joining me on Outside Views EU again. And if you found this exploration of labor trends insightful, please like, comment, and subscribe. And let's continue to explore the dynamic changes shaping Europe together. Until the next time, stay informed and stay curious. The next video is right here in the end screen.